the love his mother chose. It all began in the sterile quiet of a hospital room. A young man rushed his mother, frail and weak, to the hospital, his heart heavy with fear and hope. She had been battling a long illness, and every moment felt like a battle between life and death. As he sat by her side, holding her hand, he prayed for her recovery, for her to feel peace, and for her to hold on just a little longer. In the days that followed, there was someone who brought that peace to his mother, a nurse, gentle and compassionate, who tended to her with a grace that seemed to come from a place of deep kindness. Every time the nurse entered the room, there was a calmness that settled in his mother's heart, and though her body was weak, her spirit seemed to be lifted. One afternoon, as the nurse came to check on her, the old woman, with a soft smile, called her over. She looked at the young woman with kind eyes and spoke in a quiet, loving tone. "Since I came here, I've watched you. You have a rare soul. I want you to be with my son." The nurse was taken aback, offering a polite smile, shaking her head gently as she replied, "I'm just doing my job, ma'am." But the mother only smiled, a knowing smile, and whispered, "Think about it, my dear. Just think about it." As the nurse stepped out of the ward later that day, she accidentally bumped into a young man in the hallway, his face familiar to her, but it was his eyes that caught her attention, the same eyes she had seen each day as she cared for his mother. For a moment, time seemed to freeze, as if the universe itself held its breath. They exchanged a fleeting look, a moment of connection that neither could quite explain. Love, quiet and unspoken, began to bloom in that instant. It wasn't something immediate or forceful, but something soft, something that had always been there, waiting to be noticed. The days passed, and in the quiet of her hospital room, the mother saw the way her son's eyes lingered on the nurse. She smiled to herself, sensing the love that was beginning to take root between them. Before her time came to an end, she whispered one last blessing. "Love her well, my son. She's the one." The young man, now alone, took his mother's words to heart, though he didn't fully understand them yet. And in time, he found himself falling for the nurse, just as his mother had seen. Their love grew, slow and steady, like a river carving its path through stone. But life, as it often does, threw a challenge their way. The young woman had to travel, her path leading her far from him, and distance, that invisible wall, began to creep between them. They stayed in touch for a while, calls, messages, dreams, but eventually, the calls stopped. The silence stretched long and painful. Days turned into weeks, then months, then years, and though the love between them never truly died, it became a memory he carried with him, a beautiful, aching memory. Years later, the young man found himself traveling, burdened with memories and a glimmer of hope. The world had changed around him, but the one constant in his heart was the thought of her, the woman his mother had chosen for him. He walked through life, always wondering if they would ever meet again. And then, as fate would have it, their paths crossed once more. They were older now, both changed by time, but when their eyes met once again, everything in the world felt right. It was as if the years of separation had only made the bond stronger, and love that had once been quiet and unspoken was now undeniable. They stood there, looking at each other, knowing without saying a word that true love does not fade with time. It doesn't disappear in the face of distance or silence. It only grows, waiting for the right moment to return. What the mother had seen that day in the hospital, what she had known in the depth of her soul, was not just a fleeting wish, it was destiny. Destiny had set its course that day, and now, years later, it had brought them back together. Love, as it turns out, never truly fades. It always finds its way back. The lesson. Sometimes, love is not about chasing after it. It's about trusting that the right love will find its way to you, at the right time, in the right way. Even when life pulls you apart, destiny has a way of bringing you back together. And when it does, love will always be stronger than before.